Alright, this is a continuation of our video interviews. Again, we're doing this for posterity, perhaps for the girls. And right now I'm here with my mom, and we'd like for you to state your full name.
My full name?
Yeah.
My full name is Della, Mozella, Haynes.
Okay. And why were you named that name?
My sister Lena named me that name.
Okay. And where did that name come from?
It was after a rag doll she had.
Why was she allowed to name it?
Because she got mad every time one of us was born. They was living all together. She wanted to be the last child born. And there were several more after her.
Okay. Did you have any nicknames as you was growing up?
My dad called me Teeter.
And any particular reason why?
For what reason, I don't know.
Can't figure that one out. But anyway, he called you Teeter. Did he have any nicknames for any other kids?
Yeah, the rest of them had nicknames too.
Okay. Can you think of any of them?
Let's see. Irene's was, what did Jay used to call her? Hun, or something like that.
Okay. Well, now, where were you born and when?
I was born in Lee County, Virginia, and I lived in Miller's Chapel, a real small place. It was a gravel road, but later years after I got married, they paved the road. Now it's a real nice paved road through where I used to live. I was born and raised. My sister, Nadine Flanagan, has the old home place. She has had it redone all over, landscape. You cannot tell where her home place is anymore. That is kind of sad.
Do you remember hearing your grandparents describe their lives? Do you remember anything about your grandparents, who they were, or anything like that?
No, my grandparents was dead before I was ever born. So I don't know anything about them.
Okay, now was there a chore?
You might be a sticky.
I have heard my mom and my dad in times say that we could have been a Stickley, because a man named Stickley, I think, raised my dad. But we still went by Haynes.
Oh, okay.
Haynes.
Was there a chore that you really hated doing as a child?
Yes. Carrying water.
Okay, now, what did that consist of, and why did you have to do it and all that?
Well, we had to carry water for everything we did. We had to scrub the floors, wash the dishes, whatever come necessary, and wash clothes. We left to see it come a big rain because we'd catch tubs of water and buckets of water and everything to get her.
And when that happened, you didn't have to go.
We didn't have to carry that much water.
You didn't have to carry water that day. So in other words, you didn't have running water in your house, right?
No.
Was that kind of a luxury in those days, maybe, to have running water?
Oh, sure. It was. The neighbors, Jean Allen, used to stop us when we were going to carry water down the Hyden, about a mile, I guess, or so. And she would stop us. Sometimes she'd feel so sorry for us, especially me. She'd stop me and tell me to come in her home. I'd get water there and then carry it home. And that wasn't too far.
Changing to something else now, how would you say the world is different from what it was like when you were a child?
Oh, it's a lot different today. It's more modern, have more appliances, more things to make you work easier, but it seems you don't get anything done. I think we got more done back when we had to scrub on a rub board and iron with stove irons than we do now. People don't even iron today. Most of them.
Right. Do you ever remember not having enough food to eat because times were hard for your family? Or at least scarce, maybe? Or
well, we had food, but it was rough. It was beans and potatoes and fatback. We used to fry that for breakfast and make gravy. My mom, if we didn't have any milk, she still could make a big batch of biscuits, and they'd taste just as good as she had milk in them. I don't know how she did it, but she did.
Can you remember any of your favorite toys or childhood games that you liked when you were little?
We didn't have any toys back then much. We played with tin cans, and we made a playhouse with rocks and swept it. And we had a vine behind the house on the fence that we had. They were green long things, but there wasn't green beans, but they looked like green beans, and we used to break them up and pretend we were cooking. Mm-hmm. And one time I remember we was in our playhouse, and my brother Rayburn brought some lye around there, and he told me it was rice, and I ate it.
Oh, no.
And it like to burnt my tongue off, eat my tongue off, and I remember my mom putting a big piece of fat meat on my tongue, and I had to go around with that old piece of fat meat on my tongue for I don't know how long. But yeah, I'm lucky to have a tongue, I guess, today.
What do you remember about school?
School, I remember from when we first started going to school, our school teacher's name was Mrs. Muncie. She was a little black-headed woman, and she hated gray hair. She was old enough that the gray was coming in her hair, and every time she seen a gray hair, she'd have one of us to pluck it out. And I said to her one day, I said, Miss Muncie, if you keep plucking your hair out, you ain't going to have any. It's all going to be gone. And when we went to that, it's a 2-room schoolhouse, and there was 3 or 4 grades in each one. And we had an old stove, and we did all the janitor work, as you call it. We had to go and sweep out the schoolhouse, clean everything up, build the floors on that old big stove. And we put cans around it with water in it, for moisture in the room. And one day, this girl that we went to school with, she come to school with, she get her hair permed, and she never combed it. It looked like knots all over it, And she was always dirty. She didn't never look like she washed off or took a bath or anything, but she was smart. And she always made straight A's. So we got her down one time at recess, and we washed her face and her hands and everything, and she told Miss Muncie about it. Miss Muncie's grinned a little and told her that she'd see that we was corrected for it. And we got out of the room. She was in the other room with the other teacher at the time. When the teacher, when we got out, she told that I heard her and the teacher cracking up laughing because we had got her down and scrubbed her down and washed her.
Oh, she needed it, right?
Yes, she needed a good washing. So we washed her face and her ears, her hands and arms, wherever we could reach without taking her clothes off. We did it. And there was Blanche Kirk and several of us in on that. But we got the job done, and she looked a lot better, and it looked better for 2 or 3 days, till it got dirty again. But we didn't wash her anymore.
Right. Do you remember what your favorite subject in school was?
Spelling. I used to love to spell. And now I forgot everything about I knew.
Did you have a least favorite?
Huh?
Did you have a least favorite?
Yeah, arithmetic's what they called it back then. It wasn't too good, and we didn't have any books and pencils and papers and stuff, and we couldn't afford to buy the books from that. Down home, you have to in Virginia, you have to buy your books. And you'd buy the second-hand books from the one grade to the other, and my dad would maybe buy us 1 or 2 books, and the rest of it we just had to get off somebody else's book. And I'll never forget, one time me and Bobby Kirk was sitting in the seats, and she asked for her lesson, and we used to copy off of the others' papers because we didn't have any way of getting a lesson because we didn't have no books. And I got mine copied, and before that I could hand the paper back to him, well, the class had started, and he says, "Oh no, Della, I didn't get the copy." And the teacher asked him why he didn't have his lesson, and we were very honest about it. He said, "I didn't get to copy Della's paper," and that's why he didn't get his lesson. And paper and pencils was very scarce. We had to borrow, bone, whatever, you know, to just have a piece of paper to write on. So it was kind of hectic growing up. I learned more after I had to quit school with my dad. With my dad, because he had cancer, than I did when I was in school. Because I didn't have anything to do with. And that way it wasn't that interesting, you know.
Right. Do you remember any school activities or sports that you participated in?
Well, I don't know what you would call it, but we would all gang up and get in a line, and we had some hills and a cistern up above the school, but we never drank no water out of it. We had to even carry water for the school. It tasted awful. So we would get up on that hill, and we would all of us would get in a line, and there'd be so many of us that it'd just be a circle, like, you know, we'd go off of that hill just as fast as we could. Some would fall down, and some would be leaning over and everything else, and it's a wonder we hadn't killed ourselves, but we did. We did that. And we played softball. I loved softball. We used to play down in Cowpester and down below the house, but Mom never would let us go down there until we got all the chores done, all the ironing, all the sweeping and mopping and everything. And once